"What the hell?" Rebecca exclaimed, getting upset from the desk. "What banality am I writing? Her father, the missing body? How do these stupid ideas come to me?" Maybe it was better to continue the next day. The novel she was trying to write for a few weeks now could not take shape. Every attempt at a somewhat original story was interrupted more or less after the same number of pages. The publishing house had given her only 3 months to deliver a new novel, and she thought she could do it, since until now all her novels have been completed in a few weeks. She was like that. When she started writing, everything came out like a river in flood. Inspiration came to her in unexpected moments, and she could visualize the whole plot in her mind. And when she had to put it on paper, it did not take long. She only had to dress the sentences with words suitable for a book that was supposed to sell thousands of copies. She had to describe well the characters, the landscapes, the emotions. She decided to go out and drive around. Maybe watching the world would help her find something original that she could tell. Every person she met served her to imagine the life he or she was experiencing, how he or she walked, how he or she was dressed. Everything was a list of messages she needed to create a new character. She took some moments to observe a guy who seemed to be about 20 years old. He was wearing wide denim pants, long-laced tennis shoes, giving the impression of being untied, a sweater too large, a baseball hat with the visor backwards, and a skateboard in his hand, like most young people of that generation in that town. She parked the car and got out, starting to follow him, staying at a distance so as not to be seen. She wanted to study him, without him knowing that he was being observed. She followed him to a house where the boy entered. She was a little annoyed because she could not look at him anymore, so she went to the window and stood there watching him go to the kitchen to get a beer from the fridge and then throw himself on the sofa watching TV. She stayed for a few minutes to observe him, and then she left. Even as she walked, the story that she had to write was beginning to be born. When she got home, she took her laptop and started writing. That man began to follow that boy as soon as he saw him walking. When the young man entered a house, where he probably lived, the man hid outside to be able to continue to see him, and through a window he began to spy on him while the boy took a beer from the fridge and threw himself on the couch, grabbing the TV remote immediately. Suddenly, the man noticed that there were surveillance cameras outside the house, but luckily they were directed only towards the garage and the main entrance. Probably there was also one in the back, but certainly there was not in the side where he was at that moment. Rebecca suddenly thought about that boy, and immediately stopped writing. He reminded her of her son. He had already been missing for almost 2 years, together with his father. Nothing was known of them, and after 2 years of research, the investigations were closed and the case was filed among those missing and never found. Obviously now she was aware of the fact that the only plausible explanation was the death of her loved ones, and she lived with this every day.